Coming thick and fast, these videos at the moment, and I hope there's something for most of you out there. Just a quick word, many thanks to all those that watch my videos, but in the absence of a comment, I just can't be sure who is watching them. So although many maybe don't feel the need to make a comment, it would help me considerably if you just said, hi, watched your video. You don't need to make any other, but at least then I know that you've watched it and you deserve my attention. You know, that's the name of the game, and I will reciprocate if you have a channel. You know, it's all very well saying I had 500 views, but if 95% of them you've got no idea who they are, to me it doesn't really give any sort of value, whereas 4 or 5 comments give tremendous value. So let's get on to the music now after that little chin wag, and this is the second in my vinyl collection videos. These albums I brought with me via the boat to Thailand, and since I've been here, which is the best part of 27 years now, they haven't graced a turntable, but they haven't depreciated. So I'm going to get going with my first one, as I did last time. I think there's 6, so let's get on with it. This is the first one as I lurched down Richard McCook style to pick out the first one. As I say, these aren't in any particular order. I've just taken them out of the box. And here we've got the first one then. It's Goodbye Cruel World by Elvis Costello. This album was released in 1984. And at this particular stage, I was absolutely besotted by Costello. After the late 70 albums, I bought every release. So before these, of course, we had Punch the Clock, Imperial Bedroom, Get Happy, Almost Blue, the country version, and I missed 1 or 2, but you can look on the discography, and I bought a lot of them. Well, this one got absolutely hammered. The critics and to some extent Costello viewed it as a rather poor effort. But for me, it still has quite a few highlights. And although he'd fallen out with the Attractions, he'd got in some absolute top draw musicians, mainly Americans, to help him with the construction of the music. He was also having some personal problems with divorce, apparently, and he developed a sort of perfectionist thinking, which led to a lot of problems in the studio. But the ones that I really love on here are the ones full of arrangements, really. The Only Flame in Town, where Daryl Hall joined him on the harmonies, is an absolute delight. And then the R&B classic, I Want to Be Loved. And I used to play those two repeatedly on Friday nights after work when I was feeling sorry for myself. The lots of light jazz keyboards and sparing sax solos glow through those tracks. And then, of course, Love Field with the erotic dreams, and there's a bit of anger in there as well with the snarling Sour Milk Cow Blues, which I love. And if you really want to get really down to the wrist slashing, you can listen to Worthless Thing, which I find absolutely delightful. So that's the first offering then, Goodbye Cruel World by Elvis Costello. Right, the second offering then on this second of my video collection videos. Sorry, my vinyl collection videos, not my video collection. It's pretty early here in Thailand at the moment, and I'm just getting my mouth sort of lubricated. So here we got the second one. This is Paradise and Lunch by Raikuda. This was released in 1974, and it's an absolute treasure. Rai basically brings together different eras and styles throughout the 20th century, and they converge on this album. They don't sound at all forced or contrived, and it contains a little bit of everything. There's a traditional railroad song, there's tunes by assorted blues greats, and a Negro spiritual feel alongside some of the selections. Bobby Womack chips in as the author of It's All Over Now. Burt Bacharach is in there, and Little Milton. It's a bit of a history lesson, really. And Raikuda, with this music, really, it's all part of the same fabric and as relevant, as accessible as anything else that may be happening at the time. And as I said, the highlights, well, It's All Over Now, of course, was done by the Rolling Stones. Jesus on the Main Line, which I really love. And then Earl Hines plays on the Blind Blake classic Ditty Wah Ditty, which is, well, absolutely first class. This is medicine for your soul, this. It's just brilliant, and it's a masterpiece, and it's called Paradise and Lunch, and it's by the absolutely awesome Raikuda. And it's my second selection. Next up then, well, let's have a look at it. This is the second album by the Eagles. It's called Desperado. It was released in 1973. It's based on a loose concept, the gunslinger and the musician on the road, always on the move, always trying to evade problems. And it follows the exploits of the dueling Dalton gang, who were, in fact, factually real gang in the Wild West and in the 19th century. And it tells the trials and tribulations, really, of a rock and roll band. I absolutely adored this record. I still love it, actually. I came to it as the first record by the Eagles, went back to the debut after this. The rock-filled songs are absolutely glorious. Outlaw Man is my favourite. The folky rock of Tequila Sunrise, a ballad crooner like Desperado, and the hectic rock fest of Out of Control. The harmonies, the production, the lyrics, and the musicianship, I feel, is impeccable on this. And it has a polish that was unprecedented, really, in country or in rock, as the songs amalgamed the two. Now, over to you to put me right, I guess. But another major reason why I love this album was because I was involved with a female at the time and had a lot of passionate moments. And we used to put this album on as a prelude to the passion. And it was sort of like an aperitif. So there we are. Desperado by the Eagles from 1973, and it's my third choice. Next one up, here we go. This is Asia by Steely Dan. This was the penultimate album in their 70s work. Trying to count those now. 3, 4, 5. Was it number 6? Or number 7? I think it's number 6. Anyway, it's an enigmatic collection of jazzy tunes. But if you play it often, you'll appreciate its different levels. And the band's total conversion, really, to jazz rock from rock pop. The jazz tunes are also quite danceable. 7 tracks in total, moody and enthralling it is. Standouts, well, they're all standouts, but Black Cow comes to mind. The title track, Deacon Blues, they all send shivers down your back. And there are the stories within the lyrics. Fagan's lyrics, of course, always deliver a teaser to work out what's going on. In Black Cow, it's a cheating wife. In Deacon Blues, it's an unlucky sax player. In Josie, it's a lass, the pride of the neighbourhood. Yeah, we probably can guess what that is. And of course, the instrumentation, which is 5-star. Who can forget the Wayne Shorter sax solo on the title track? Absolutely breathtaking. And this real snippet to this album, in terms of a brief review, really doesn't do it justice. But I don't want these to go on too long. It's just an immaculate piece of work, and it's timeless as well. Aja by Steely Dan, and I absolutely love this one from 1977. And then this is my next offering. I'm not getting the records out of the sleeves. Well, they're there, but because of the weather here, I don't want to break the paper or do any untold damage. See, just by getting that out of the sleeve now, I've got problems putting it back in. It's the humidity here. It's really crucifying. And here we are knocking over things. So again, this is the fifth offering. Or is it the fourth offering? It's called the Valentine Suite, and it's by the British-based band Colosseum. And this was released in 1969. And I've really got a soft spot for this. Particularly the Valentine Suite theme, which is 3 pieces, which takes up the whole of the second side. It's a bit of a magnum opus, really. Completely instrumental, and it occupies, as I say, 17 minutes plus of jazz rock that is quite remarkable. Particularly the work of Dave Greenslade, who shines with his keyboard work. And towards the end, the faster parts of the suite display some absolutely terrific organ work, and also stands alongside the other genius of the era, Keith Emerson, and Hextall Smith on sax chips in with some breathtaking work. And we had one James Litherland on guitar. This was the last effort he had before he left, and his guitar work is pretty special as well. And just a word that I also love watching this live on YouTube, when the band had changed a little and the guitarist was Clem Clemson, and it's an absolute stunner. The first side is pretty good as well, which sort of takes us through some fairly interesting blues, jazz, rock, also a bit mystical with some sort of percussion laid down by the absolutely the greatest jazz rock drummer I think I've ever seen, John Heisman, who sadly passed a few years ago. Not much more I can say about this, really, other than the fact that you really need to listen to it. It's absolutely awesome. And I have got a review for this album, a much more thorough review, on my channel. So check that out. Valentine Suite by Colosseum from 1969. Last vinyl that I'm going to show you today is this. It's called Soft Machine, and it's albums 1 and, let's get it right, 2. So these are the first two albums by the Canterbury-based British band, who were basically classified as psychedelic rock jazz, called The Soft Machine. The first album, which is the one on my left, is the first record, and on the right is the cover for the 1969 Soft Machine 2. So let me just fold that up. There's a huge gatefold here with lots of information and lots of strange photographs. But this was a reissue, obviously, but it wasn't that long after the two had been originally released. It was probably mid-70s that I picked this up, and very pleased I was as well. Let's go through one first. Very weird, very catchy, brimming with energy and ideas, and very British. These guys, who might be described as conservative with a small c, doing avant-garde in the UFO club in London, where they used to share the bill with One Pink Floyd, and they were packaged together as a double band act for a period, although they obviously were quite different. Kevin Ayres on bass on the first one, and vocals. Robert Wyatt played drums and also sang, and we had Mike Ratledge on keyboards, and it's a very accessible sing-along style, but featured some very weird elements to distinguish it from the general pop producing public. Some of the music was pretty mind-boggling. The organ, piano and drums jammed together with a complexity that is certainly worth noting. The time signatures, and there's a great drive to it as well, and it segues into the next songs repeatedly, so it has a magnificent flow to it. None of the tracks last for too long, and once you get tired of the experimental part, you're treated to a more sort of jocular, relaxing pop part to it. So it's absolutely fantastic. Let's move on to the second one now. I could go through the tracks. The first album I have reviewed in much more detail on my channel. The second one, let me just get it. Here, they moved away, let's turn it round. They moved away a little bit from that psychedelic feel and added in some more jazz rock elements. And there was the lyrics. They give thanks to Jimi Hendrix for being a support band on his tour, and getting a bigger audience, of course. There's a lengthy piece at the beginning which has 10 small parts to it. And then there's another one called Esner's Nose Job, which is on the second side, which again has 4 or 5 small parts. Ayres was history by the time this came out. And so it was Ratledge and Wyatt. And they also had more sax, courtesy of a man called Hugh Hopper. So they were moving more towards the jazz rock phase of their development. It's a very good piece of work, possibly not as spellbinding as the first one, but I'm glad to have them as a pair because they definitely function like a pair. So that is Soft Machine 1 and Soft Machine 2 from 1968 and 1969 respectively. And that concludes this video. So there will be, will there? No. No, with these videos where I'm showing the vinyl, I haven't got no pictures because I don't want to spoil the fact that you're viewing the vinyl. but I will be doing another one very quickly. So that's my lot.